What's going on? What's going on? Hey, welcome back, man. This is actually going to be a double episode because we really get into it. I am Evolution, and I got my sidekick here, Mr.
Poetics.
Hey, man, and we've been getting down on this topic, man, so heavy, which is, we get to the right page. The topic is what I went through yesterday prepared me for today, and we had like 20 things to go through, and our first episode we was only able to make it through 10 of those things. So just watch the first episode and you'll be caught up to right now, because we're gonna clip this and make 2 episodes out of it. So yeah, man, we ended up doing our segment with which would you prefer, their money or their influence, and we got through half of that with Michelle Obama. So now we're going to continue with Oprah Winfrey, and you can choose either her money or her influence. It's up to you, bro. What you got?
Man, with Oprah, you really can't go wrong with either one. Actually, I think I would go with her influence as well.
Okay.
For one reason,
Mm-hmm.
there is not a person, I don't think, who has a post who doesn't know who she is. I mean, it's very, I mean, it's, a 7 billion, plus population of people. And I mean, I think it's probably pretty safe to say that at least over 6 to 6.5 billion plus know who the heck she is.
Oh yeah.
So I think when you're pretty much that respected on a global scale,
Mm-hmm.
I think your influence is pretty potent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's people who, for lack of a better term, would swear by Oprah.
Right.
So, looking at her show and how it blossomed from, I think it started in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, and how it blossomed to what it became.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I know relatives and people who are just like, well, Oprah said this, and it's just kind of like, and there's nothing wrong with taking advice from an Oprah Winfrey because she's in a position to give it.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to listen to someone, you might want to listen to someone who has that kind of influence.
Absolutely, man. You got more?
Go ahead.
Okay. Speaking of influence, I'm gonna cap that real quick because Oprah had influence on Starbucks. She had like a chai tea that they sold at Starbucks, and I'm gonna say that was an excellent item on the menu because I was one of the people who, that's all I went there for, was that Oprah chai tea, and it was excellent, man. Because I'm a tea drinker, and I really appreciate her for that, because it just made an impact on me, because I made special trips there for that because it was delicious. Right. and she mentioned it, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And boy, was I glad I checked it out. But as far as her money is concerned, man, she is a super powerhouse as an individual, a Black woman, a business person. She is incredible, man. The things that she not only does for herself, but the things that she does to empower financially the people that are around her. And right. I can give the biggest example in Gayle, how she took Gayle under her wing as her best friend and kind of helped her get to where she could start traveling her own direction and do what she wanted to do in life, right, and be an impact as well. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of on influence, but it's also on finance, because Gayle, I'm sure, is way better than what she was before Oprah's interjection of, abilities to make money
right
into her life. So yeah, Oprah's money is just climbing, and it will continue to climb, because she's got all these things behind her and in place now, her own companies, her own networks, whatnot, her own shows. She's a power mover. You know what I'm saying? And she just makes things happen that just so happen to make nice amounts of money in return.
Right.
So my hats off to both of those ladies, man, because they are really instrumental for Black women. The impact that they both have for all women is huge. But the impact that they have for Black women is obese. You know
It's
what I'm saying?
different. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And if Black women or women, period, don't respect their hustle and their what do you call it, accomplishments, then something's wrong with them. Because I'm a Black man and I respect their hustle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for real, that's 100%, 1000%. These ladies are so incredible that they got my attention. You know what I'm saying? And some of the things that they do inspire me, influence wise and money wise.
Absolutely. In terms of Oprah's her wealth, man, one thing that always sticks out with me when it comes to Oprah is when she was, doing her show really heavy, she would always do things like give houses away or give vehicles away or something on those lines. And I think for me, I could appreciate that because I think we had on the previous podcast, I was mentioning how I think people with wealth, I know they do a lot behind closed doors anyway. I mean, that's just a given. But I just think that when you have that kind of wealth, not only is it, a good thing to do for others, but it's a moral responsibility, whether it's accepted or not, to help people who are definitely not as fortunate as yourself. So seeing someone like a Oprah Winfrey say, hey, I'm not too high and mighty to help somebody that's less fortunate, to me, that always hit home.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter how successful you are, you can always, hey, it's okay to give back to the community of people that support you anyway. So I love that.
Yeah, man, and have compassion for those who are where you were once upon a time.
Right.
Who don't have the hustle or the ability or the resources to travel that road. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
When you're the pioneer, always think of it like this. There's a forest ahead of you. And you're the only one chopping down trees and making the ground flat and pouring the cement so that the next generation or the next people behind you can just roll right through. You know what I'm saying?
That is an excellent point because you actually made me think of something with that analogy of, cutting down the trees through that forest.
Yeah.
But people don't understand when you're talking about a forest, you're talking about everything that's also in the forest, not just the trees.
Exactly.
So there are no telling what kind of pythons and anacondas you got to get
right.
By, or panthers and tigers and lions that you might have to get through.
I mean, even deadly creatures like, spiders or tarantulas, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, so much stuff that you have to deal with when you're on that type of destination, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Travel. But it's that's life, bro. Because you get hit with so many different things, man. I remember when, what was it, the beef industry was trying to mess with Oprah. You remember that? You remember that? She made a comment, and because her comment and her influence is so huge, it had an impact on the beef industry, bro.
Wow. Influence, man.
Yeah, man. So and they learned the hard way not to mess with Oprah. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like right now I can have a thought or or a view on something, and I can mention what it is, it might have some impact with a few people. You know what I'm saying? But when you're on that level of Oprahism,
Right.
uh, or Michelle Obama status, what you say, it has so much matter to it. You know what
Oh
I'm
man.
saying? Because there's so many people listening, so many people paying attention. Um, but that's great, man. You know,
Yeah.
to build that and get to that level is outstanding in accomplishments as far as I'm concerned. And they're not done. You know what I'm saying? Neither one of them are done. I mean, you know, Oprah was just at an award ceremony for the revision of Color Purple. You know what I'm saying?
Which is an amazing movie, by the way.
Yeah, man. And she was a part of both of them.
Yes.
But this time she was a different part, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's hustle, man. That's knowing you got something that's award worthy that got kind of disrespected the first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Let's just call it what it is. They
Yeah,
definitely got
yeah.
robbed.
Anytime you have over 10 nominations, bro,
And you're right, for one movie, one film, and in the
you
Academy
you
Awards, you
you
don't
at
win one.
least gotta walk with two or three. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
But to walk away with zero.
you already know, bro. You already
Yeah.
know. So anyway, we're getting off the subject. But yeah, man.
I think we're doing good.
Yeah, man. Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, my hats off to both of you. Incredible individuals, uh, incredible women, powerhouse of influence, uh, super successful, man, financially. Just keep getting it. You know what I'm saying? Just keep getting it.
Yes, sir.
You got anything else? Or you ready to move on?
Just one quick note. One to mention for Michelle Obama. Something else that also sticks out to me with her is being able to do the career side of it all, while also still being able to be the prototypical wife and mother.
Boy,
I
boy.
mean, to be able to really balance that kind of tightrope with that kind of level of grace and efficiency is it's rare. You know,
Yeah,
usually
absolutely.
when someone is that I guess successful,
Hmm.
typically that's because they just delved and thrown themselves into that thing, and that's not nothing wrong with that, but
Right.
to be able to not only be successful, in the courtroom and but also be successful as a wife and a mother, and also while you're juggling being a bestseller, and I mean, man, it's just yeah.
Hey,
Definitely big
man.
respect to both of those ladies, man.
Absolutely, man. And well deserved, man.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
All right, man. So we're gonna jump back into it at number 11. And let me highlight this again for those who just tuned in. This is gonna end up being a double episode of what I went through yesterday, prepared me for today. And if you want the first 10, you got to watch the first episode because we're going to clip it and make it two different deals. So this is 11. And I call it gain. Uh, so basically, gain taught me the value of ownership. You know what I'm saying? The way I think today, from the things that I've gained through life and what I dealt with yesterday, I only think in terms of ownership right now.
Hmm.
I started my own company, my own independent record label in 1999, I believe. Um, I executively produced pretty much every project that was involved with me. Um, I think except one compilation that I was involved in. Um, and everything I'm doing now. And since then, it's either something that I solely created or created with the majority of everything being behind my thought process. Um, so yeah, man, I do things to be the owner or I have some percentage of ownership in it. And that's where I'm at, man. I'm all about the game because it's just not about me anymore. It's about my sons and their children and their children's children and so on and so forth. Um, and I came from nothing, man. I actually came from negativity uh, because there was nothing established prior to me being born. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of things that my family owed or were paying for. Um, but my thought process is different, fortunately, to where um, a lot of stuff I don't owe. I got papers, you know what I'm saying? I got ownership. So that's where I'm at, bro. What's your thought on that?
Love it, man. Love it. Uh, my thought for gain, man, is the first thing I thought when I seen it is the wealth of knowledge itself, man.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to just start one way or have what you already have, and
Mm-hmm.
then being able to build upon what you already know and either learning better or
Mm-hmm.
learning more of what was the right thing for you to know in the first place.
Right.
I think just just the wealth of knowledge itself, man. And of course, I always kind of throw this in. It's not always, of course, what you know, but who you know
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is probably an even bigger impact in some regards. But um, just, I guess, staying, just continuing to gain more knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Let it build and turn into wisdom.
Yeah,
But
man.
that's for me the biggest thing when I think of gain, because it's like knowing that I know so much more than I did a year ago or 2 years ago.
Right. Right.
So for me, it's a big deal. I can't speak for everybody because I know everybody's values are different. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, being able to kind of carry that and then, continuing to, show my wife things, she's showing me things, and
Yeah, absolutely.
it's able to, there's constant, growth. You never want to be stagnant. So it's like something I learned recently. When you marry someone, they're never going to be the same exact person that you married. Uh,
No.
5 years from down the line, 10
Mm-hmm.
years down the line, you're going to continue to grow and expand in one direction or another.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely want to, I think the biggest thing is just, yeah, man, the gain of knowledge, man, knowing how to apply what it is you learn
Mm-hmm.
and be able to kind of carry that into your daily life as you continue to make it from point A to point B and eventually down to Z.
Absolutely, man. And you sparked something when you said the difference in people as they grow. Um, in a marriage, the whole purpose or point is to grow together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And because I've been there before, the steps I'm making now, man, are so much better and razor sharp because um, it's like when you go through something once, either you don't ever go through it again, or you analyze those things to make things better. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So the whole point is to grow together, man, and that's where I'm at now, bro. Uh, Steps need to be made as a team as opposed to being an individual. So it's like if I got a business mentality, then the person I need to be rolling with also needs to have a business mentality. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it ain't gonna work, bro. Because what I see is on a different path than what they're looking at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Uh, it, it's just that simple. It's that clear. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything I think and do is gonna have a business um, thought process to it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way I analyze stuff. And when you're like that, and the opposite person isn't, no matter what you try to do to make them see what you're talking about or understand what you're talking about, they're never going to see it because they just don't have that vision. You know what I'm saying? So if I were able to give any advice to anyone, when you're choosing a mate, understand that you're choosing a mate. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to hook up with a zebra if you're a lion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's the best way I can put it, bro.
Nice.
You know, regardless of what your partner actually what they are, you know, they also too have to be aligned. You know
Right.
what I mean? So yeah, man, that's what I got on that. Anything else?
I love that. I just kind of give you feedback, man, on that one. That was really good.
Oh, thanks.
To you don't want to be, in short, unequally yoked with someone
Boom, boom.
as
Yeah.
you decide to embark on that journey of marriage and say, oh, hey, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Having values, and I mean, it's okay to have differences. I mean, you wouldn't want them to be identically like you anyway,
Right,
but
right.
you definitely want them to be identically like you in the things that matter most,
Mm-hmm.
because if they aren't, that's where problems will start.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, man. So let's hop on to number 12,
Yes,
which
sir.
is actually the opposite, loss.
Mhm.
Um, so loss taught me the value of appreciation. Um, and this can go in so many different directions, bro. But no matter what it is, if it's something small, simple, or just important to you, meaningful to you, um, or something you're heavily attached to, or has a high value, any type of loss, bro, helps you appreciate the times that you had it. You know what I'm saying? And for me, um, there's been some loss, and I think in life everybody's going to experience loss one way or the other. Um, but it's that bounce back that makes the difference. You know what I'm saying? If it's material, if it's a relationship, if it's an actual person, you know what I'm saying? It's the way you bounce back after that loss to appreciate the time that you did have with what you lost. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that can create such a huge impact on the direction that you're going, and it can even add fuel and help you add a few G's to your takeoff. You know what I mean? Because of what you had at one time that you no longer have. You know, use that as a way of projecting yourself down your direction even more efficiently, more accurately, uh, and just to be more thorough about your results. What you got, bro?
Love that, man. Love that. Um, I guess one of the greatest values, if not the greatest value for me in loss, is time itself.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I think people always, talk about how valuable money is, which we all know. Excuse me, how
Uh-huh.
valuable money actually is.
Mhm.
But I think the only thing that I would say rivals the value of money is time, because with time, when you're able to, there's so much with time that you can do. So
Yeah.
with time, you can understand how to manage it
Hmm.
so that you're not, spending too much time on this one thing as opposed to not spending enough time on this thing.
Absolutely.
Also, time, it allows you to understand what it was you actually lost, because we all know the one thing you can't get back, you can get money back, but you can't get lost time back.
No, you can't, man. Well put. Excellent point, man.
So it's just one of those things for me where, understanding now I'm 35 years of age, and I don't, I think I've done really well to the point where I don't have so many regrets in life.
Hmm.
Am I where I want to be? Exactly, not quite.
Hmm.
Definitely striving to get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I would say that uh, learning the lessons of the time that was lost on whatever I might, wasted or overindulged in,
Hmm.
it hits home a little bit more, and it's starting to become a much more valuable commodity for me.
Sweet, man. Beautifully said, and the point is definitely made. Um, That's why a lot of people use the phrase "time is money."
Right.
But the way you bring it, time is way more important than money, because with time and how you use it, it can be a true game changer in how much money you make.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
and on the flip side, if you lose money, like you said, you can gain it back. But if you lose time, it's gone. You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah, man, you got to be effective in the ways that we use time. Don't waste time. Don't fiddle around. Uh, a lot of people say, "I'm gonna get to this tomorrow. I'm gonna do this next week." You know what I'm saying? Uh, I'm more of a, what can I do right now? Even in some things, I'll be like, "Yeah, I'll get to that tomorrow," because it's towards the end of the day. You did all you could during that day, and then, for instance, I'll have like 10 things that I want to get accomplished today. If I get to 7, then the 3 things that I didn't get to are 1, 2, and 3 on my things for tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
eventually I will get through everything, and I'm utilizing my time the best I can. But, you know, uh, if I could get through those 10 things today and start a fresh 10 things tomorrow, they'd be more effective. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, you just gave me an idea.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's I think he was actually a pastor, if I'm not mistaken, but I learned a lot of nuggets. My wife actually kind of put me on to him.
Hmm.
His name was Dr. Miles Monroe. I think he's actually passed away now.
Okay.
But man, he would drop so many nuggets of wisdom and knowledge. And one thing that he said that really kind of helped with the last segment, as I think about it now
Hmm.
consciously, is whatever you mismanage, you will lose.
Right.
So if you
Right.
mismanage time,
You lose it.
you lose it. He's
Yeah.
like, you mismanage your finances, you lose it. You,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
mismanage your home, you lose it. So he just
Right.
literally kept breaking it down
Yeah. Yeah.
and took it to the point where if you mismanage your spouse, you
You
lose that. I
lose
was like,
it. Absolutely.
whoa,
Absolutely. Yeah.
wow. So
Yeah.
it kind of it hit different.
Yeah.
It
And,
hit
and
different.
and it's all in the way of it's being presented. If you got a wise person presenting something, it's going to have that impact. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? For
right,
you to get out of your own uh, way of looking at things and be like, "Holy cow!" You know what I mean? That
right,
that made way too much sense. You can't help but to see their point when they utilize certain uh, ways of expressing it. You know what I'm saying?
right.
It's
Perspective.
just, yeah, absolutely, man. So I'm glad you brought that up, because every day we got people like that, man. They just focus on the way they see things. Uh, it can be something as simple as a certain form of jealousy or disrespect, or just not wanting to accept something that's going on. People create their alternate realities. You know what I'm saying? And they can even go as far as to starting rumors or making excuses to justify the way they look at stuff, instead of stepping back saying, "Hey, I'm the one at fault." You know what I mean?
Right,
I need to really strongly consider doing things differently, because the way I'm doing it, I ain't getting nowhere. In fact, I'm going backwards. You know
right,
what I'm saying? So I think if people will get out of their way and start looking at things differently, they'll realize not only how much time they wasted and lost, but they can also realize they're going in the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying?
right. And
So, yeah, go ahead.
not to cut you off, but to piggyback that,
Mhm.
not only realizing how much of their own time that they've wasted, but how much of someone else's time that they've probably wasted.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And as you say that, I got a perfect example that I got to use. I got to use this, man. There was a guy really heavily pursuing to get a job where I work. Heavily, dude. I mean, track me down, track another manager down, just persistently trying to get an interview and get a job with the company. Uh, Daily. Even had his wife call the company and talk to me about getting a job for her husband. And I finally met the guy, nice guy, older, got some things going on, trying to make some things happen. but what he was trying to achieve at my location was unachievable, especially if you're a newcomer to that business. You know what I'm saying? So he finally was so persistent that he got that interview. You know what I'm saying? And myself and the other manager that he was being persistent to were the interviewers. So what really messed it up was, instead of letting us do the talking and presenting the interview and going through the interview process, he started talking and just telling us basically what he was wanting and what he was looking for. And we were like, yeah, in some cases that might be possible, but not, this is not one of those cases. You know what I'm saying? In other words, if you're a doctor seeking a position at a hospital and you have a strong resume that supports your
expectations.
Thank you. Then that's one thing. But if you've never worked for this company before and your background is in something else and you're trying to get that same result at this company, which is just not possible because what you're asking is way more than what the highest person makes.
Right.
It's really a waste of time, even though you've been told this over and over again, and you should seek something somewhere else and, more in line with your field. And then this person does their spiel and we're just kind of like, okay, so what do you want to do? Well, I don't want to waste your time. The whole time, what was he doing? Not only wasting our time, but wasting his. Well, why would you even do that? And then kind of ended the interview before we even started. So we was like, really?
Wow.
What was that all about? You know what I mean? What level are you operating on to where you're dedicating all this energy to something that you're going to destroy when you do get that opportunity?
Right. I think he would have been better served. I understand, wanting a certain amount of income. I definitely get that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he would have been better served of doing maybe a little research on the company and what the average person can expect to make. And, even if something's negotiable, even what that would be, where he could even be in that regard and see if it would make sense to even pursue.
Absolutely, man. And where I'm at, we don't make bad money. It's decent money, it's more than most. But especially the perks and benefits and all that, it's really, it kicks butt. But dude, look at all the time he wasted pursuing that. And then when he finally got the opportunity, he wasted the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm thinking about how many jobs he actually could have had with what he's looking for had he utilized his time correctly.
Right.
So at the end of all that pursuing, which was months, you know what I'm saying? He was, in a position to try to at least get in the door.
Right.
But he even blew that opportunity. So what is he really doing? You know what I'm saying? I need a job. I need this. Well, if you really need a job, why are you killing your opportunity?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. What you got? You got anything on that?
No, man. I just think, I think we definitely hit the nail right on the head, to be honest with you.
All right, bro. Let's keep it moving then. Developing. Developing gave me vision, a desire to complete and create. So throughout life, yesterday, that led me to today, all the development changes that I made outside of physical, but mostly mental, through the things that I went through and experienced, it kind of increased my vision. It increased my abilities to complete things and create things. It kind of made me stronger or expanded on what I was dealing with already. You know what I'm saying? It gave me growth. So yeah, man, through all the things that I've dealt with, even if they were negative, I found a way to make it positive and draw from that energy to go a lot further the next time, or take what I was doing to the next level. You know what I'm saying? What you got for that, bro?
I love that. For me, development, I think, has taught me, or I think it's taught me a much greater sense of purpose. And kind of a point that we were talking on earlier, but it's kind of, I think it's helped me develop a lot of my business acumen, because it's kind of like, even though I'm delving into, different things here and there, I don't lose sight of what's most important and what's most crucial for me in my life. So it allows me to see, okay, I think we even kind of touched on this. I think it was our last podcast about, not settling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Understanding that what your value is, and how it was us talking about the job scenario in general.
Yeah.
How, most people approach the interview process probably backwards. It's really more of I really need to get this job, and I'm lucky if I can get this job, and that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, you're blessed and lucky to an extent, but
right.
I think your mentality has to be, this job is lucky and blessed to have me working for them.
Absolutely.
You have to make, just like you would see value in yourself in a relationship, you have to see value in yourself in a relationship to a job.
boy, for real.
Because they'll definitely take you for granted and lowball you, because they've been able to do it for so long to so many other people who work for them.
Exactly.
So I think that's the big thing for me when it comes to development.
Man, that's beautiful. Let's keep rolling, bro. Understanding helped me to realize that failure was a stepping stone. So when I think of the times that I didn't succeed, or there was a bump in the road, or I had to, try to reevaluate some things, understanding helped me realize that wasn't the end, that was the beginning. You know what I'm saying? We all have walls we run into, man. But once you realize a wall can be gone over, gone around, gone through, even gone up under, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then you realize that there's something on the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For instance, man, when I was looking for a house, I was very persistent. I looked at all the houses that was available in where I was from, in the area I was from, and it wasn't right. It just wasn't what I was looking for. It had most of what I wanted, but not everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I went to different areas. I went further out, north, south, east, and west. And same thing, man. Either the house was perfect and the yard was too small, or the yard was perfect and the house was, it just didn't have everything that I was looking for. Maybe there was something running on the side of the house, like a highway or something that I didn't want to be bothered with that type of stuff. One house had it was close to the airport, so planes was flying over regularly.
Right.
It was just one thing after the other, man. The kitchen was too small, or not enough rooms. And then I went to different areas. I went to the other side of Missouri, man. All the different neighborhoods and areas over there. And I was very persistent, though. I was like, I'm going to get me a house, man. That's my next thing. That's my focus. I'm going to get me a house. All the opportunities that came up, just one way or the other, kind of eliminated themselves. You know what I'm saying? Looked at over 100 houses, bro. And my realtor was willing to show me all those houses because he knew, that it was a huge investment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he understood that I was looking at it that way. It was a huge investment. I might as well be happy with what I get.
Absolutely.
And then we were at a house, and I swear, man, that house was beautiful. but the rooms were just too small. And he was like, you know what? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought about building? And I'm like, because you don't get questions like that every day. You're just looking at what's already there.
Right.
He was like, you obviously know what you want, but it's not out there. So have you thought about building? And I was like, no, not really. Isn't it more expensive to build? He's like, no, actually, it's quite the opposite. It's less expensive to build. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't even know where to start. He's like, that's where I come in. I was like, what? So he said he had 3 pieces of land that he just purchased to build houses on. And he gave us a choice. And I picked the land out and looked at the diagrams of the house that he wanted to build. And at that moment, I think I was on board, especially when he told me what it was going to cost. So I was like looking, I was like, okay, so this is what you have already, but I want to switch this. I want to change this. I want to add this. I want, you know what I'm saying? I started redesigning the house already. Right. I said, if you can do those things for me, then we can make that happen. He was like, well, this is the blueprint. I was like, well, can't you change the blueprint? I just didn't take no for an answer. You presented me with this opportunity. Now that I'm interested, don't take it away. You know what I'm saying? So he said, well, it's going to cost this much to create a new blueprint. I said, do it. I was like, do it. That ain't too bad to ask for, for what I'm wanting. You know what I'm saying? I didn't look at 100 houses to back out now. Right. You know what I'm saying? I didn't invest all this time looking to back out now. This is really what I want. Let's go. And bro, here we are 19 years later, and I'm sitting in that house, bro. You know what I'm saying? Wow. On that land that I picked out. So, yeah, man. What you got?
That was I love that, man. That was a incredible perspective.
Thank you.
I would say for me, understanding. I think for me, understanding just taught me the value of how to somewhat piggybacking off of you that failure is just kind of a part of a stepping stone to success. Mm-hmm. But I think understanding, to your point, what you're willing to accept versus what you're not willing to accept.
Absolutely.
So I think for me, it's that, it's kind of like, in your mind and in your vision, okay, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And you had the mentality and the thought process of, I'm not stopping until I get exactly what it is that I want.
Absolutely.
And it's like, when you're making, like you said, a purchase that extensive, that's, one of the most, if not the most expensive thing someone is going to ever purchase, mm-hmm. is their home. So It's like, if you got to live there, arguably for possibly the rest of your life, you definitely want to have what you want to have in it, right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So yeah, that for me, understanding has just been that, man. Just understanding that you don't have to accept what is common, what they give to you, what they tell you that this is what you should accept. Mm-hmm. You can understand that there is literally no limitation. Like, the world is thinking, okay, here's the box and we know we can't go outside of it. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, understanding is realizing that there is no box.
Boom. There you go, man. So this is going to take us to our next one, man. Growing.
Okay.
So growing to me was the transition from boy to man. Man, I got a lot of examples on this, but I think I'm going to go here, bro, because these moments define my manhood. I truly believe, because I had to step up out of my boy mentality to a man's mentality. There was a day, and I think it was before it should have happened. I had to check with my dad on some things. You know what I mean? Um, in this particular moment, had to happen because I think I was the only person who could have checked him on this. There was some things going on, and I was asleep, and I woke up because those things was going on. Um, keep in mind, I'm growing. I'm getting older, getting taller, getting stronger. Uh, so when I walked into what I walked into and recognized and realized what was going on and put everything together, 2 plus 2, because like I said, I was sleeping. There was a rage that increased in me, bro. And the only way I can explain it is, it's in a cartoon where the temperature's rising, the thermostat is going up, and then it gets to the top and it
Smoke.
explodes. That was a moment for me, man. And as that was rising, my boy mentality was turning to a man mentality. And I didn't say anything, but the way I acted in that moment was so impactful that I went back to sleep. And my father left the house. So it was very minor what I did. It was one thing that I did, but it had such an impact that never happened again, bro. That was the last that happened. It was one of those moments where it was like, yeah, recognize you are the father, but that's where I draw the line.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That was a moment of me recognizing that I had to step up to manhood for a minute. And another example was I got to bring my mom into this too. She used to always tell my sisters, "Y'all better leave him alone. One day he gonna make y'all respect him." Because they used to always tease me and bother me and team up on me and just get on my nerves. And my mom would be gone, and then she come home, and I'm running outside to tell her what they were doing, and she just be like, "Y'all better leave him alone. One day he gonna make y'all recognize." And it's like, "Nah, he ain't." And then I'll never forget this, bro, because my mother was right. She came home one day, and it wasn't me running out to her complaining. It was all them.
That's funny.
Yeah, man. I had enough, bro, and I reacted. And then my mom came inside and looked at me, and I was like, she just started laughing, bro. She
already
started
knew.
laughing. Yeah, man. She was laughing and cracking up. She said, "I told y'all I was going."
Right.
And they was thinking I was gonna get in trouble, man. And from that moment on, like I said, things change. When you grow from boy to man, depending on the situation or scenario that's presented to you, things change. They have to change. You know what I'm saying? The way people look at you, the way they treat you, the way you feel about yourself,
Man.
because you understand your growth and what it means, man, because your strength is not the same. Your thought process is not the same. What you will tolerate is not the same. You know what I'm saying? What you got, bro? What you got, bro?
I have two examples of my own, man. And one is growth. Wow. Looking back, I know you're actually aware of this, I believe. When I was about 18, man, I think I had just graduated high school at the time. So, of course, I'm going to kind of keep it on manhood here. You don't know or have any kind of level of manhood sense at the age of 18.
Right.
As you would later down in life,
Right.
So I remember I was dating a young lady at the time, man, and her her dad came to me one day, and it just caught me so off guard, man, because it was just like, you're never, at that age, you're not ready for that.
Right.
He came to me and asked me, on a scale of a 1 to 10, where would I rate my manhood? And I was just kind of like, I was 18 then, fresh out of high school. So I was just kind of looking at things through the prism that he was, trying to get me to look at through it. And so I gave him an answer that he, was probably expecting for me to give him.
Right.
And, you know, kind of looking back on that moment, it was an impactful moment for me because it was after that moment where I started to kind of, I guess, have a metamorphosis. And I understood to myself at that point in time, after that took place, I said, never again
right.
will someone, I guess, even catch me off guard and to that level of degree.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know, now I'm kind of like wishing I could have that moment back so I can give them what the answer would be now, you know?
Absolutely, man.
So just speaking on the level of impact there, man, had a huge impact in terms of my growth. The second thing was actually when I first proposed to my wife, probably about 5 years ago. And I actually asked myself 3 big questions that pertain only to her and myself and our situation, you know, as it was. And, you know, one of the things that I asked myself was how, you know, she's older than I am, and you know this. If things got to a point to where maybe she had to be relying on me because she got older and that kind of thing, I said, you know, would I be able to handle that as her husband kind of thing? And, you know, once I got to the point where I could answer these questions with yeses without hesitation, I understood that, okay, I was actually ready for marriage. I had grown to the point, okay, I'm ready for this.
Absolutely.
And actually, the first thing I did after I answered those questions was, I'm a little old school. So I actually asked her dad and her stepmother, and then even her mother for their blessing and what they thought.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned that because that's really respect, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's respecting the fact that because the parents got together and had a child, that child is now going to be your wife or whatever.
Right.
So that's respect, you know, to ask them for their blessing because that's important. You know what I mean? It's important to have the blessing of the parents and all that other stuff, man. You know, that's something I think is lost.
Right.
That should have never been lost, man. In fact, it needs to be found again because I think a lot of marriages would be built more on a solid foundation if people would take those measures. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, bro. It kind of it gives you, you know, the perspective of like my situation was really unique from the perspective of no one in her family prior to her meeting me had ever liked anybody she ever had dated.
Wow.
So for me, I came into a unique situation where when they met me, it was instant. It was like,
nice.
This he's a good guy. He's a good dude. Yeah. You know, hang on to this one kind of thing.
Right.
And even her dad, you know, you know, he always had a funny way of looking at things. And, you know, he never cared for certain guys that she, you know, had dated. But I remember one trait when she first introduced me to him, she said that if he messes with you, that means he really actually likes you. And that means, you know, you're kind of gaining some kind of respect. So before I knew it, I don't even think I had left from our first encounter of actually meeting him. Before I knew it, he was joking with me and making all kind of jokes and that kind of thing. And I thought, okay, I did good. You know,
right? Hey, man, that's a good feeling, ain't
it?
Yeah, man. So to having approval for a father is definitely different than having approval for a mother. But I think even if you didn't have their approval in the beginning, when you ask their blessing, I think that kind of changes things on how they look at you. You know what I'm saying? That makes me like, you know, maybe there is. Now I'm starting to see why she, you know, is with him and you know they're bonding and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, man. Real quick before we go on, her dad had made a statement about how, you know, the only person that he thought was decent that she ever dated was me.
Wow.
And then he was like, you know, if it came down to us ever needing anything, he said I'm one of the only people he wouldn't mind helping because of the
Wow.
kind of person that I was. And I was just
Man,
like,
that's
wow.
absolutely great, man. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful, man. So right now, man, we halfway there. So I want to introduce another. I'm laughing because I already know what's coming up, bro. This segment is called "I Done Seen and I Done Heard It All."
Okay.
It's so many ways we can go with this, bro, and I'm sure we're gonna hit a lot of them. But this particular situation is out of Central Florida, and a person is suing the company for negligence, and this is why. An exploding toilet at a Dunkin' store left a customer filthy and injured, and they filed a lawsuit. Now, I understand the filthiness behind it,
Right.
but I don't want to. What I don't understand is the injured part. Maybe their embarrassment or their feelings were hurt when they had to leave this facility filthy like that. But also, I want to add: is this exploding toilet the?
Wow.
Is the exploding? Is it? I can't even get it out, bro. Is the exploding toilet the result of them exploding the toilet?
Okay.
Oh man, what you got, bro?
Man, I guess the longer I live in life, the more bizarre certain things become.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like every time you kind of think, I've really seen and heard it all. You kind of are, always taken a bit off guard by certain things like this.
Yeah, man.
You're like, I never heard of that.
Oh man.
So, man, I don't know.
I mean, I would definitely hate to be in that situation. And I feel bad for the person that was in that situation, man. But
what I'm actually thinking now that I put a little bit more thought into
it. What you got, man?
I think they're going to win this lawsuit or this settlement or whatever the case may be, for obvious reasons, I guess. But the funny thing about that is, just think about them later down in life when someone asks them how they amass their amount of wealth. And just imagine the story or how they could even think to even tell this story of how they got it.
Man, I don't even know if I want to tell that story.
Exactly. I'm like, well, what would you tell somebody?
Man, I mean, think about how they might have felt when they, of course, had to leave like that or come out and whatever happened, man. And even having to tell an attorney what happened,
That's tough, man.
I mean, you got to start it like, well, what happened was.
I mean, think about it, even when the judge passes ruling for the settlement.
Oh my goodness, man!
What it would take for them to probably keep from laughing while they're passing judgment.
Boy, that's a tough one, man. I mean, because obviously, if there was a plumbing issue that they neglected, yeah, they're liable.
Right.
But even if they didn't handle the situation properly, they're liable. I mean,
right.
The type of restaurant or place it is, they don't have clothes there, but you can offer to, replace their clothes or something like that.
Right.
You can offer to maybe have them clean themselves up as best as they can at your establishment, give them whatever they can or whatever you can to help them, resolve that and try to make it better at the moment. But dude, obviously they didn't do any of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking,
right.
because it led to a lawsuit being filed.
Right.
But man, I didn't see it, and I didn't heard it all.
Wow. That's crazy.
Inspect the toilet that you put your rear on before you do it. Do a courtesy flush before you sit down. Man,
that's tough.
Yeah, it is. Oh wow. You got any more? We're getting back into it.
I think I'm good.
Oh man. All right. Number 16, knowing, realizing what I am capable of. Things that let me read this correctly, man. What I went through yesterday prepared me for today. So knowing, realizing what I'm capable of. It's a lot of areas I can go with this, bro. I'm kind of searching for an example. Well, I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
Okay. I'm sorry. What was that? What was the question again?
Knowing, realizing what you're capable of. Like the knowledge that you obtained from yesterday.
Right.
It brought you to the realization of what you're actually capable of today.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. I would say, it's funny. I always, I guess me and my wife's marriage is pretty healthy because I bring her up quite a bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's cool. That's cool.
So I would say, meeting her actually kind of actually got me to the point to where I realized what my capabilities actually are, because it was like prior to her and I getting together, it was like I was, in a certain situation or whatever it was. And it's kind of like, she kind of obviously seeing something in me that I didn't see. And I said, I'm like, it's amazing when someone thinks so highly of you.
Absolutely.
They're able to actually inspire you to be like, I am so much better than how this person met me, and I think for me, that was the beauty of it, is knowing that, meeting through her, knowing that there's nothing that I literally can't achieve, especially as we're working together to try to achieve a common goal.
Boy, that actually gave me my idea, bro, because it's like kind of on the flip side. At one point, I became a single father. You know what I mean? And when that weight was placed on my shoulders, bro, it took me a minute to process it, because I thought I was hearing things. You know what I'm saying? But it was the truth. It was what was happening, and ready or not, I had that task that I had to address and handle on my own. So I learned a lot about myself, bro, from being a single parent, and it taught me so much about what I was capable of, because up until that point, it was all about having someone in that fight, in that battle, in that situation, in that scenario with you. You know what I'm saying? But all of a sudden, at the judgment of a judge, it was all my responsibility, and I was solely responsible for everything that was there.
Right.
It's almost like finding out that you're gonna have a baby. You know what I'm saying? Being told that they're pregnant and the baby's yours. And of course, if you're married, you don't really question that. But your mentality at that moment, all right, before that moment happens, you're thinking a certain way. But after that bit of information, your mind shifts. You know what I'm saying? You go into parent mode, father mode, whatever, but all your thoughts shift, because it's not about you anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not about you and your significant other or your spouse anymore. It's about this baby that's on the way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the impact of that is when you hear that, before that, you might be tired or exhausted, thinking about whatever, who knows what. But after you hear that, you automatically get an energy boost and you're focused. You know what I'm saying? You're so focused on, oh crap, I got to get prepared for another life, that I'm
Right.
responsible for. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like that same thing times 12 because they're not babies, they're like children. You know what I'm saying? And I'm all of a sudden thinking about, dude, I got to work. I can't stop working. Uh, they got to go to school. You start thinking about stuff that you never thought about before and in a way that you have to think about it now. You know what I'm saying? So your brain just kick in to analyzing things and processing things. And you're like, well, I'm going to need help there. Who can help me here? I'm going to need, some type of way to get this done and get that done while I'm here and doing this. You just kick off into a direction that you've never explored before, but it's something you got to do. It's like being behind a door that you didn't know was there, that it just opened on you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to go through it, and whatever's on the other side, you got to be ready for whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, so just knowing at that moment that I was going to be a single parent kickstarted me off into a whole nother level of thinking. But after doing that for a while, shoot, man, it's been 11 years going on 12 now that I know what I'm capable of. You know what I'm saying? And it was all a learning journey, but it made me so much of a better person, so much of a stronger person, because now I know what I can do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Know what I'm capable of. And you can't tell me nothing because I did it. I've been doing it and I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to continue to do it. What you got, bro?
I love it, man. I think being able, what was that last segment?
Knowing.
Gotcha.
Realizing what I am capable of.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, knowing. It's one thing when you kind of have, I'll take it here. There have been a couple points in my life in recent years where I was kind of in a state of mind of, in a situation of not knowing and, trying to figure out, what's going to become of, me, my wife, my marriage, just kind of navigate through things.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, you get to a certain point, man, where you're like, and I have to take it here, man. It's like you have a faith. You have a vision with your faith, and you realize, man, no matter what situation we've ever been in, God's always got us through it. Right. So it's kind of like I've gotten to the point now where even though I still have some moments of insomnia at night on occasion for different reasons, I do know that when it's all said and done, everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to, and for a greater purpose and greater good.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man, it's like, having that situation of just, yeah, man, you get to the point where once you've gone through it so many times, or even one crucial time, you get to the point where it's like, man, you just know. No matter how things are going to go, it's going to be all right. And even beyond that, that you'll be wildly successful at the end of the day when it's all said and done.
Absolutely. Boom. I hope we are having an impact on everybody, and hope you see where we're going with this, to where it helps you out, because I know it helped me out. It's even helped me out doing this, because I'm hearing some perspective from Poetics, and hopefully he's getting the same from me. Evolution, you know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
Yeah, man. So the next one is responsibility. And it's simply being a positive example, man. That's what responsibility means to me. Things I went through yesterday that brought me to today. Being a positive example, because there are way too many negative examples out there. And to me, when you're positive, you're being responsible. You know what I'm saying? To me, when you're negative, you're being irresponsible. It's like you're not owning up to what you should own up to, and you're making negative or reasons or excuses to why something is the way it is, or giving you ammo into, I guess, kind of making what you're doing and not wanting to change what you're doing relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To me, responsible people are the game changers. You know what I'm saying? People who are responsible get things done. They're the doers. They get the results. They're the motivation and the momentum behind all actions and journeys to accomplish something. What you got, bro?
That's excellent, man. Perfect point.
Thank you.
For me, wow, responsibility. I feel, I'm kind of piggybacking a little bit,
Mhm.
but I will say, for me, responsibility is, you have to understand that when you're, like you said, if you're running away from responsibility, you'll be running your whole life.
Boy, boy,
Uh,
boy.
because no matter what you do or don't do, there's going to be some level of responsibility and culpability that comes with whatever decision you make or don't
Mhm.
make.
Right, right.
Uh, so I'm just really cognizant of, I guess for me, responsibility is always knowing that when you don't think so, somebody's always watching.
Right,
Uh,
right. Absolutely.
you're in a situation where, whether you realize it or not, even if you don't, like I said, you don't think somebody's paying attention to you, you think you're too small to make an impact or a difference, you will be really surprised if you could actually analyze what people actually thought when you
Mhm.
might pass them, or just when you might have a small conversation, or anything
Absolutely.
along those lines, and you'll be surprised and shocked of the level of impact that it actually had on them in their lives. And
Mhm.
they might look at things through a different prism now just because they had a conversation with you.
Absolutely, man. And you brought a couple of things to mind when you were saying that. Uh, One is, I had a coworker come to me one day and was just talking to me, and they were like, "That's a new shirt, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then after I walked away, I'm like, "Wait a minute, whoa, they watching me that much to
Right.
where they know when I got a new shirt on?" I'm
Right.
like, "Seriously?" And then
Right.
it gave me a little I had to rethink some things to realize how much people were really watching me, bro.
Right.
And then on another example, it actually worked out in my favor. Somebody was trying to get me in trouble, and they went to one of the managers with some bull that was inaccurate. And because the manager knew me and knew my character, that situation never made it to me, bro. He stopped it right there and checked them and say, if it was somebody else, I would probably believe what you're saying. But since it's him, I know exactly how he is and how he will respond to things. And what you're saying does not fit his character. So you go ahead and about yourself and rethink your thoughts. And because I'm not going to follow up on that. And then later he came to me and he was like, I just wanted to make you aware that something was trying to be created to get you in trouble by another employee. I'm not going to tell you who they were, but the reason I didn't believe them was because they said you were using cuss words towards them. And
Oh, wow.
anybody that knows me,
You don't even operate
right?
like that.
Yeah, I don't get down like that. So when they told him that, and he seen me pissed before, and he knew those type of words didn't come out of my mouth, man. So character is everything, bro. And what I mean by that is my battle was being fought for me, and I
And
didn't
you
even
didn't have to
know.
lift a finger.
Yeah, I didn't even know the battle was there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, man. That's what I got from what you're saying, man. You got anything to expound on that, or you good?
Yeah, man, real quick. That was like beautiful because it kind of takes me, I guess, to a spiritual level now, because
Mhm.
that's how it is.
Yeah.
Battles are constantly being fought and won on our behalf, even when we don't even know they're taking place.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
it's like that the statement of what's true in the natural is true in the spiritual.
Mhm.
A lot of times that's what's going on. So
Yeah,
it
man.
just kind of goes back into one of our previous topics of growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well put. Well stated. So let's move on to leadership, man.
Mm,
We just got a few more. Uh, Learning to follow to become a leader uh, out of respect. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? A lot of people think when it comes to following someone, or you used the word earlier, submissive, a
mhm.
bit, they think that there's no honor in that, that it's a discrediting, I can't even say it. It is a discrediting uh, event that occurs, but there's actually honor in that, bro.
Yes.
And there's actually strength in that. When you follow someone or you are submissive to someone, for instance, a woman's being submissive to her husband out of respect, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Uh, it's a whole nother level of understanding and learning leadership. You know what I'm saying? Because there's plenty of people out there who are the vice president who want to be the president that will never be the president because of how they view things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And those that do become the president become an awful president because they miss some things or they overlook some things or they just refuse to do some things as followers. You know what I'm saying? I can look at somebody that's above me in leadership right now, and a lot of people may not like them or may not like their methods, but I appreciate their methods that I can take and make myself better. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You can always get something good out of anybody, no matter what their style of management is. You can appreciate, or at least I appreciate, the things that I can take from that person and use for myself to make me stronger or more effective as a leader. So a lot of people don't do that, man. They just want to complain or talk about those individuals or even come up with little stuff that don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because either they refuse to follow that person for whatever reason, or they're just not the type of person to follow anybody, period, which puts them in the place that they are and they're probably going to always be. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So for me, man, I can identify with multiple people that I followed in my life out of respect, man, because they were just a great leader. You know what I'm saying? And because I paid attention to them and followed them and practiced the things that they presented to me that were essential leadership qualities, I am now a leader. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm trying to be a better leader every day. I'm trying to learn from people who are above me, who are great leaders, who have went through the steps that I went through, that understand those steps and kind of give me little nuggets, you know what I'm saying, to help me out here and there. And I do realize there are people out there who try to guide you for their own benefit,
Hmm.
try to dictate, well, you should do this, or if I were you, you know what, I appreciate what you're saying. And if it's relevant and instrumental to my doing better, I'll hold on to it. But if it's, you can tell. You can tell
Right.
if it's genuine, if they're just trying to lean on you and influence you in the direction that they would go. But people fail to realize that you're paying attention to them too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can have all this um, way of giving advice, but understand that you're being watched too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You giving advice that you won't follow yourself, or the advice that you're giving don't even work for you. Why
Right.
am I gonna pay attention to that, bro? Why
Right.
am I gonna hold on to that? It ain't gonna do me no good, like it didn't do you no good.
Right.
Now,
Exactly.
if it's instructive and it's relevant and it does make sense and it is effective, guess what? I got it now. I'm gonna run with it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But what you got, man? What you got for that?
Nice, man. Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually going to start it off with a saying. Not every Indian can be a chief.
Boy,
Uh,
man, that's beautiful. Keep
you know,
going, man. I love it.
yeah, it's like a lot of people, they want to be placed in positions of leadership,
Mm-hmm.
But going back to, that topic we talked about earlier, responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know how to bear the weight of the responsibility that comes with the position of being in power of leadership.
Right. Right.
So, they want the glory, but they don't want the responsibility that comes with the leadership.
Or they want to be a Napoleon instead of an Abraham Lincoln.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Huge difference. Either you can force things on people, which really won't make them like you.
Right.
I mean, they might fear you. You know what I mean? Or you can be fair.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think fairness always goes a longer distance and travel.
For sure.
Than anything else, man. Did you have something else to go on?
Yeah, man. Just, having a perspective of, hey, you have to kind of have an unbiased point of view when you're in a position of leadership, because people that you're closer to, who, you might be in power over or what have you, they're gonna, they'll be, if they know you're biased, they'll be able to play on that bias.
Boy,
say, yeah, this is my guy, so I can, no matter what happens, he'll always look at it through my, and defend me no matter what. And it's kind of like, well, that's why you have to, if you truly care about someone, you have to be fair. You have to let them know, hey, yeah, you were wrong in thinking this way, or whatever the case may be. You can only, I'll say it this way: when you're in a position of leadership, you have uncomfortable growth.
boy, absolutely, man. That's well put, man. That's got some wisdom behind it. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. So, anything else, or can we move on?
We can definitely move on.
Right, cool. So the next one is results. We talked about this earlier when we were talking about Oprah and Michelle. Don't stop until it's done. Attitude. You know what I'm saying? I kind of expressed my way of thinking as far, and I got to don't stop until it's done. Attitude. What you got, man? I'm interested to see what you got for that, man. What you got?
Yeah, man. I would say for results, man. I'm very detail oriented, and I would say actually it's a great strength of mine, especially in a professional field. But I also have learned about myself that sometimes I could be even maybe too detail oriented, to where it can't. I remember when I was at a previous occupation, and about this occupation. But I was very sometimes newer people would come in, and the manager would ask that they shadow me because I'm so detail oriented that they'll be taught correctly on how to do this, how to do that.
Absolutely.
The flip side of it is when the manager themselves are not as detail oriented as the person that they want, training everybody else. Some people take shortcuts. And don't get me wrong, I think shortcuts are necessary depending on what they are. And sometimes they're, a huge advantage that could help you get somewhere just as efficient and quick. But there are times where, being for me, I think being so detail oriented just really works in my favor, because more often than not, when I'm detail oriented, I get the results that I'm looking for.
Absolutely, man. And we were talking about leadership earlier, and that's one of the things that you just mentioned that brought me back to leadership. When you're a leader, you understand so much more than the person that you're teaching.
Right.
They never think about that or consider that. So you can mention a few words to them and mean like 3 paragraphs. But
right.
they don't get the fullness of it. So sometimes they're like,
what just happened?
right. So as a leader, you have to many times remember that your level of knowledge is so immense that when you're teaching somebody or instructing somebody, you have to go a little bit further in explaining in detail what you want them to do. Because if you be like, well, I need you to handle this over here, in your mind, that's a complete full statement that
Right.
involves with it. But in their
Right.
mind, they're like,
Huh?
okay, what do I do now? What do I do first?
Right.
So yeah, man. So sometimes we forget, especially if we're busy uh, as leaders, but we have to be reminded that yeah, they're trying to get to where we are. So we need to give them little nuggets and drop that little extra information and take the time to explain. Yeah, I want you to do this, and this is how you do it. You do this first, you do this second, you do this third, and then if you have any questions, boom, there you go. What you got?
Dude, that was perfect because you basically have to understand it as a leader. You have to meet people where they are so you can get them where they need to be.
There it is. There it is.
So it's just kind of one of those things where, like you said, if you're already on level 100, you got to remember they're coming in at level 1.
Right.
So,
or
maybe
level
50.
Yeah. And also, bro, I don't want to cut you off. Keep your thought. They may be at a level 10 and think they know it all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they're looking at you like you don't know what you're talking about, or they got more knowledge than you, but you're like, really?
and it's perfect again what you just said, because being a good leader puts you in a position where you have to keep in mind that because you might meet a person who thinks they know it all and doesn't quite know as much as they think, you have to be able to give them information in a way that they can receive it.
Absolutely, man. And then also, I keep thinking about stuff. You're triggering my thoughts, man. When you're dealing with people like that, man, they see one direction. And I always use this analogy. I think I even used it in a poem once. So most people are in water up to their chest, and all they can see is in front of them. The water's in front of them, but they fail to realize that there's water on the left and the right side, and even water behind them. But they rarely think about how much water is up under. You know what I'm saying? So if you're standing and you can feel the bottom, yeah, you cool. But if you're just floating, you have no idea of what you're dealing with. And then, so you're looking at everything in one direction, but the people that are over you that are trying to instill that knowledge and wisdom in you have to be able to express to you, yeah, you're good when you look in that direction, but you're really lost when you start to turn around and see what's behind you and around you, but you're even more lost because you don't realize how much is up under you.
Right.
And then when you explain it to them like that, and then you'd be like, that's where I'm at. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get you here. If sometimes they can't comprehend that, bro. Go ahead, man. What you got?
Oh, that's nice, man. I was just thinking off of that point, kind of, it's like being thrown in the middle of the ocean with no parachute.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And the way people look at you, like I said, they look at the cover, but they haven't read the inside, so they have no idea what they're dealing with. And as a leader, if you're a real leader, you're only going to give the knowledge that's needed at the time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a Sadoshi training somebody in karate. You know what I'm saying? You're going to teach them how to punch and be an effective puncher, and you're going to teach them how to defend themselves.
Right.
But if you're a Sadoshi that knows what he's doing, you're never going to teach them how to defeat you.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? You're going to give them enough to defeat everybody else. But if they ever get the chance or the opportunity, they want to try to face you, you're going to be like, okay.
Right.
You can try. But you're going to learn some things that I ain't taught you yet.
Right. Exactly.
No wrong with
well
it.
Stated.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. You got anything else for results?
No, I think we hit that pretty good.
Absolutely, man. And the last one on the list, man, preparation, man. Be ready when it's time or when that time comes. Just because a lot of people, they want to be awarded something before they're ready. let's keep it job. Let's keep it job. We've been talking about jobs a lot. A lot of people. Well, no, we can even make a position like I mentioned, vice president earlier. It can be either or something different. A lot of people think that they are prepared for something, and they're not. And then there are people who have been doing something for a long period of time who believe they're prepared for something, and they're not. If you don't really analyze fairly to yourself and also receive the things that's being said to you and about you from someone else, then you're not prepared.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If somebody comes to me and say, hey, I'm checking you out, man, and you're killing it right here. You're killing it. But over here, I would do this. Or would you consider looking at it from this perspective? You know what I'm saying? Something like that. You'd be like, yeah, I could do that. And then if it works for me, cool, I got it. I'm running with it. But if not, I'm actually figure out a better way to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I can be better prepared for that different area. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the type of person I am. You bring me something. If you're trying to bring something against me, you better have your stuff in order, because you're gonna get the leadership. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You'll get the leadership. But if you're presenting something to make me better, I'm all ears. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I'm open to receive the good out of it. And maybe what you're saying I already know. You just haven't seen me do it, because when I do it, either you're not around or I just do it so fast that you miss it. Right. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of ways to look at that. But the biggest thing, bro, is be prepared for whatever it is you're trying to do in life. The stuff that you learned yesterday, you got you here today, use that as preparation for what you're trying to do tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Be prepared. I mean, just don't run outside to the mailbox and you ain't looked outside and saw the snow and the cold weather. And you're in your shorts, and you're barefooted, and you're going to freeze. You're going to cause yourself to get sick, even though it's a short trip to the mailbox. It's cold out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you want to be prepared. You want to look out the window first, say, oh, it's raining. Let me grab my raincoat or my umbrella and go to the mailbox. You know what I'm saying? So what you got, bro?
Yeah, man, I think it kind of brings me here at balance. When you're balanced in so many different areas, you're able to be prepared even when sometimes you might not even feel like you're not prepared.
Yeah.
You're able to, and to your point, a lot of times you're thinking you're strong enough in certain areas. And, in certain areas you are, and then in other areas you're not so strong.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even when you have that balance, you have the understanding to say, you know what, I can take, this person's advice on them saying, hey, I can be better in this area. And they're giving me instruction on how to be better in this area. And like you said, you can try it out. And if it works, you find out, oh man, it really does work. Or
absolutely.
Maybe it's not an efficient tool for you. So, but you realize, hey, I'm still weak in this area, so you can still find a solution that'll still help you be prepared to be successful.
Wonderful, man. That's the last one, but I got a couple of things I want to do, man. One segment we have not done yet, as my brother Poetics, we had this thing we call each other. He calls me Stanfordamus, and I call him Carvanius Cullenstein. A play on our actual names, man. And we have genius moments. So for this particular moment that I want to highlight as a genius moment, it kind of covers some of the things we talked about in these 2 episodes. Well, this one episode is going to be 2 episodes because it's so long. It kind of shapes and forms the thought process of where we are, to help everybody else get to the right road to travel the right direction to where you're trying to go. And my Stanfordamus moment and saying for today is, a man doesn't need eyesight. All he needs is vision.
Wow. That was profound too,
Thanks,
because
man.
the first thing I actually think of when you say that is a Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles.
Boom. Boom.
You're talking about people who literally don't have physical eyesight,
Yeah.
but they had vision to know what they can and can't achieve, and that there was nothing that anyone else could do to deter them from becoming ultimately what they became.
Absolutely.
So that was nice.
And they excelled at it, and their accomplishments are untouched. You know what I'm saying? You just got to respect everything that they did, man.
Right.
So appreciate that, bro. So this is what you started. You started asking questions at the end of the segments and the episodes. So I have a question, bro, and I think you're gonna like it.
Okay.
Out of all the topics we talked about today,
oh wow,
I would say, I want to say pick more, but I know we've been on this for so long. I'd say pick one, and if you could change one thing about this, only one thing, what would it be and why?
Wow.
So out of all the topics we had today, we had 20 of them. Tell me which topic you want to highlight. And if you could change one thing out of that particular topic, what would it be and why?
Wow. What's funny is I typically tend to answer that kind of question with, I would change nothing, because everything tends to work out the way it was actually meant to work out, to actually build your character and your own growth.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually going to go a little outside of that box today.
Okay.
And I would say 12 loss. And for me, the answer that I had given was the time. So obviously for me, I would change, maybe certain aspects of certain time that was lost. Understanding, how the statement of, I wish I knew back then what I know now type of thing.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Kind of that statement of, how much further along would I be?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would, I guess, be the only thing I would, consider changing is, I'm 35 now. So I wonder where I would be if some of the mistakes that were made in the past weren't.
Man, dude, I mean, you almost hit exactly where I want to go on this. And it kind of helps me understand why we get along so well, because our thought processes are aligned. And a lot of things that we've done over the years is also aligned. So I'm going to the title, man. The title of this episode, what I went through yesterday prepared me for today. Man, the one thing I would change about all of this is if I had today what I know now, what I've been through, what I processed, what I grew, and what I've done. If I had all this yesterday, where would I be today, man? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I had a time machine, bro, and I could go back to yesterday, to that very first childhood moment, and find some type of way to put everything I got right now into that brain, ooh, where would I be today, bro? That'd be the only thing I would change. That'd be the only thing I would change.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So are you good? You got everything?
Yeah, man. I think I think this was a really great double show.
Yeah, man. I didn't design it that way, but that's how it ended up, bro. Sometimes when you design something and draw a plan, you just got to roll with how the results come out, man. And every time I drop a plan thus far, it's been a beautiful result, regardless of what the topic was or who the guest was or who I was, doing the show with. And this one, I got to say, is by far the best results I've ever seen of anything that I've drawn up on a podcast, man, because what I thought was going to be an episode long ended up being a part 1 and a part 2, maybe even a part 3, depending on how long it is when we finally finish up. So
Wow.
congratulations, man. We just knocked out our third show, which might end up being our sixth show.
Right, right.
So we
Congratulations
gotta,
to you as well.
yeah, man, we gotta figure out how to chop this up. And for those of you who have been watching and hung in there for the whole time, we very, very much appreciate it. Uh, man, we could talk forever if you haven't noticed. But once again, since I did it on the first episode, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight the sponsors: JG's Lounge, Golden Diamond Productions, TGBTG, and Vive. VYV comes in a little vial. You shake it, sniff it, and it keeps you alert and focused. Yeah, Lucian 15 is the code if you want to make a purchase of that and get a discount and help out support the show. Man, Poetics, great job today, bro. How you feeling?
I feel great, Evolution. I appreciate you having me and us doing this thing together, man. And it's a whole lot to consider going forward, as you know, some things off the screen.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
I am enjoying this for sure. I have to admit that.
Absolutely, man. And that's the whole point for us to not only enjoy it as we interact, but present it to where hopefully everybody else enjoys it as well. So far, so good. You know, the numbers is going up, the support is going up, the name and the show names are getting out there. It's just a matter of time, bro, before things start to hit that viral status. So yeah, man, I appreciate you. Thanks again for hanging in there longer with me today. I really appreciate you as a co-host, and I really don't have a secondary choice. When I thought of this, your name popped up, and that was the only name I ever ran with. So once again, bro, we got a third episode out of the way, and it was quite a great one, man. We got a lot of points out, and hopefully, if you don't get nothing out of this, something wrong.
Absolutely.
We hit a lot of stuff today, man, and we got a whole lot more to bring. But you know, whatever happens from this point, man, we look for everything to be great in whatever we do and all the topics we present. So I ain't got nothing else, man. You got anything?
I'll kind of just close with a statement that I've got a really close friend that I met at one of my previous occupations.
Mm-hmm.
And we still, keep, in contact. It's a little bit more sporadic these days, but we still keep in contact to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But I always, reference him and call him, OG. And he always say, he's always dropping gems. And he would always tell me, I'm gonna drop a lot of gems. It's up to somebody to pick them up.
There you go.
So that's all I've got for today.
That's beautiful, man. That's absolutely beautiful. And we're gonna get out of here, man. We've been on this mug sitting down, probably got cramps and stuff when we stand up. But it was a beautiful moment, man. Beautiful topics, a lot of discussion, and great conversation, man. So y'all take care, peace, and we out.
All right, peace.